this because I've scheduled it to go out on the 1st of March. This will be a month's time, but this is the same day that I recorded February, did the whole yearly post, so it's a continuation really, just broken down in pieces for you for the whole of the year. So if you remember back to that day, I pulled 3 cards from each pack, and for each month. So this is March. So the first card that came out for March is the Water Dog, play with the waves. And the second card that came out and that was from our what do we call it, Chinese element pack, and then from the Avalon pack, the cat. So we've got the cat and the dog, and the source dragon, attuning to the infinite. So what do we need to say about these 3? Let's tune in. And obviously at the end of February, there was a huge, before I left, I did a channeling. So it's interesting to see on the different energy. It was very much about frequency, sound, and etc. This is a doggy playing with the water. And he looks like, you can't quite see it, but a dolphin's under there. The dog represents loyalty and friendship, playfulness in the water. I see that doggy is literally swimming in an ocean there. I'd imagine that after February that we've worked out now how our skills are starting to come into play and how we are navigating them better. We're being able to swim. We might be literally doggy paddling. We're not quite on the breaststroke or the butterfly stroke and experts, but we are managing to stay afloat, that doggy paddle that you're first sort of learning, and playing with it a little bit. This is what they're saying energetically. We're starting to play. So the cat, independent, healthy boundaries, making sure that your boundaries are in place, so that you have now put those boundaries in place. You've got healthy boundaries of energy boundaries. You're doing your 12D shield, or not shield, filter. So you're filtering your energy hygiene's in place. Cats have this beautiful energy. I'm sure that's why the Black Cat Guardian Order, although my Akashic tells me they are actually a race of beings, or energetic beings, if you like, of holding sacred space, that I call the moment I do any sacred work. They are part of me, or drawn to me because I'm embodying what they see as the goddess. When I asked what my purpose was during my the series of Akashic readings, one of them was to be a divine embodiment, which this is all our purposes as far as I'm concerned, to be a divine embodiment of that which we deem as the goddess here on earth, being in its highest good, the feminine, the masculine, holding space, holding alignment in balance, but still moving, doing that, sort of living to that. So the dog is loyalty. So cat to me is about the sacred, it's about the divine, it's about the vow. Something lucky happening. She's surrounded, this pussycat, by these vines, the ivy, growth happening, things to do with the earth. Obviously we're moving from February into March, this sort of springtime energy, undercurrents with the water, with the ocean, although we're staying afloat. We want to play in the waves, we want to paddle, we want to have fun. It's that energy that's going to help you go and work through it and give you the independence. The healthy boundaries are on all levels. Our boundaries, feeling like that which others may... I know that for me, I struggle with this personally, and I know that you may do. So does this sound like you? you want to give lots to others, you want to be there, you want to be in service, and certainly I resonate with this. And then you end up going over and above, and then you feel like you've got nothing left for you, so you're not taking that time in the morning to maybe meditate, or taking the time to do your movement practice or your breathwork practice, or whatever it is that anchors you in the light, in this physical incarnation of a being. Cats are very, very good. People think of them as being selfish. I love their energy. They are very much in the moment. They do what's right for them. They have balance. They have agility. They can jump from branch to branch. You've got, although some of my cats, I'd argue that would be a bit different, but they alchemize energy. So you want to naturally alchemize energy in your field, not walk into a room and feel like if people are there they drain you. This is why I think it's important to think of this in the terms of how we sort of say, oh, we've got boundaries up, we've got our walls up, we need to do our energy hygiene. Then it gives you the impression, that then you need to put a barrier up. No, that's not what I meant, and that's not what this means in my opinion. Maybe it means that for you. Maybe that's what you feel it means. Great, on a 3D level, maybe. However, it's the energy structures that you put around, your energy patterns that you put around, that you give meaning to. And the fact that you walk in, you know you're attuned, that if there's negative energy, you alchemize it naturally. You are part of, not like a moth to a flame, but like like the flame to the air. You enlight that whole, irradiate everything around you like a sun. Cats have this beautiful, gentle nature, but they are fierce. They are predators. They are hunters. They go after what's important. They go straight to the point. They go to the jugular, literally. If you think about the fact that they are divine, represented divinely, but they've also got this fierce, fiery, dark side to them. This is that goddess energy coming in, and I'm feeling like it's the cat. And then attuning to the infinite is part of that. It goes with that. It's the working with energy figures of 8. I mean, if you look at this one with the dragon, he's holding a chi ball, and he's got his energy 8 going on there with his tail, and also got his wings of his Merkaba lit. So be still. In the silence, magic can happen. Be in the moment. Being present, being aware, creating those energy fields so you're present with that. Hopefully I will be present with you. I am going to read, which one do I feel like? I feel like I want to share the information of the dog. So 59, and elaborate more on what the card's interpretation of this is. Water dog pillar with yang water, oceanic forces. And remember I said in February, Oceania, which is Australia and New Zealand, and around the Ring of Fire and the Lemurian energy, that would be important. I don't know how. I'm assuming that also, the moment I saw that and said, oh, it looks like there's almost dolphins in the water, but it's not. It's like just a shadow, but I'm seeing that undercurrents of stuff rising up to do with Oceania and around that area being important to do with water. Possibly flooding. I don't know if that's not already happened. It feels, I'm hearing that's already happened. I don't know. I haven't checked. May seem, so yeah. So back to the book. Dog, water's oceanic forces over the dog's insurmountable yang earth may seem ominous at first. Imagine tidal waves pouring over a mountain, but firm, faithful earth element conquers water. The element associated with fears, the waves have no chance of being the mountain. that has stood still for eternity. And I'm hearing on the back of that the emotions over the relevance to important affairs. Those important affairs will happen regardless of how those emotions or how you're being affected. They will go ahead. It's okay. We're still learning to embody those in higher states of our being. The mountain that has stood still for an eternity, the intuitive dog knows when to jump into the water, knowing when to take action in the month. Our fears may overwhelm us, but they can be contained with positive thinking, confidence and faith. Setting short-term goals and having a long-term vision can help steer us away from the internal fears. Yang water, like fast-moving currents, also indicates rapid change. The rapid change theme is not just for March, it's for the whole of this year. It's like one thing after the other. We're being bombarded with this stuff. Oh yeah, that's happening in them. Oh yeah, now that's come to light. Oh yeah, that it's going to be one wave. That's what that means. But if you stay in your grounded, anchored, loving light space, then it literally just down. Yes, it will have an effect on the stone, the water, but it's a softening effect. It's a softening effect on the anchored light that's there, rather more heart opening, more compassion opening with the things that are happening. Not thinking, not necessarily bad things, but I feel they're things we already know that maybe the rest of the world is kind of just waking up to. There's something new waiting when this card appears, but you must first get yourself to the other side of fear. This is a term for humanity, that humanity is still rooted and grounded in its root with around fear. It needs to be the balance of that, in the creative part of that, in the intuitive, earthly, sacred sexuality part of that, rather than the opposite negative side of it, of the lower dantian. Are you ready to step into your confidence zone? If you're already feeling a sense of discomfort, accept that you're uncomfortable. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable, is what that's saying, and pat yourself on the back. So that movement as well, bilateral crossovers, I'm hearing as well, making sure the right and left brain hemispheres working with that will help. Although they're saying, like, give yourself a pat on the back, I'm saying that movement will help because you're working with the balance. This means that you're taken a step forward. It's rough out there, but trust that all will be well despite the ebb and flow. Your skills, intuition and perseverance will keep carrying you forward. The water dog encourages you to embrace your fears and take a risk. Play a game of what ifs. Nothing in life is certain. The best case scenario may take you on the greatest adventures of your life. If you can live with the worst case scenario, then it's worth taking the risk. Prepare for the best, but don't fear the worst. Like Yang waters, oceans invites your fears, but also awe of the sense of adventure, befriending and honouring your fears. Be curious and question them so you can move on once you've passed your fear period. So you could say you need to actually make friends with your emotions and your uncomfortable emotions. By doing so, with the practice that we've had in February, by now that should be easier if you've been doing that work, or if you're starting to do that work. That's the advice. So you can move once you've passed through that fear period. And the dog earth element is stabilizing the influence, staying grounded. And so what are we in March? Is it moving into Taurus? It might be around that time towards the end. Stay grounded and connected to the center to navigate through life calm and with ease. And I want to really needs to elaborate. I'm trying to do my stuff as well because it sparks. 18. Interesting that the dog is next to it on here, but this is the cat. So the cat reminds you of independence and to set healthy boundaries, love with freedom. Do not look to own what you desire. That's the manic manifestor coming out. If you want to own it, you want it to be now. You're like, it's not happening. Why is it not here yet? For you to, there's too much attachment can lead to loss. The cat lends you its power to live freely and to remember. So embodying that cat sense that adventure is just beginning. Don't forget that the cat has 9 lives and always lands on its feet. It manage, and they're only hearing council of 9 as well. It manages to get up unscathed from a fall. No matter what happens on this leg of your journey, you will emerge safe and sound, live freely, love without unhealthy attachments, and remember that the cat as your companion, that you may fully immerse yourself in life, for there will be many more lives to come. We are an amalgamation of the moment, an amalgamation of the days as we see them, all those cycles and cycles of time. You may have lived certain things in other cycles that are influencing you in the cycles that you're in now. And I think a lot of us, as we start to remember those other past lives, we can take with us that wisdom. And it may just be, for example, right, say you don't, like me, remember other lifetimes. It may be for you that you are drawn to certain cultures because those cultures are in you, and innate that drawing is because of the memory of the wisdom of that culture of when you lived in that life, and those aspirations in that other life, or that other frequency that you know that you have access to. Well, when the vow disappeared in February, which it will, or would have done, and it's kind of gone completely at the end of the month, you're able to see with such clarity that now, as you've initiated and sort of allowed yourself to digest on a physical level, because this is about foods, this is about digesting our thoughts and our feelings as well that we may have eaten. So that will start to fall away. Also, so will those patterns, as we really understand the lessons they were trying to teach us. And then finally, Source Dragon. Let's see if we can, I'm sure I've read on this one before as well. You have to look it up, and if this doesn't have numbers, I might have to write the numbers on them. I'll read this and tell you mine as well. So I've said about figure of 8, I've said about the thing, attuning to the infinite. This is that connection with the divine. 110. In the center of all the dimensions, galaxies and universe is an infinite point of pure stillness and love. This is the heart of Source, and from it flows the most incredible illumination. So when we do our connection, and I say go to central, sun to the central, that's the point I'm seeing in my head. That's where we draw down from our light sword and our pulling that through. You can visualize that. As the wishes of Source flow forth, the illuminated angels know, as the serpent sings, Ahom, the vibration of master creation is the 12th dimensional frequency, and this is the core. If you go into physics, some stuff is based on 10, but science is going to understand actually it's based on 12, as they find the 24th chromosome thing. That I think the video that it actually came up today, and I've shared it, so it would have been for you guys back in February from Chiron. He talks about that as well. But base source code, and I have always seen the 13 even more so as we're evolving into an extra layer. So, but it's all based on this with the numbers and the physics, and we'll have the understanding of this, and with this it'll enable us to unlock some things with technology as well. This allows the will of creator to spread as seeds through into the universe. Ninth dimensional transportating white source dragons exit purely to attune to the divine will and turn wishes into reality. It's the manifestation that we refer to in terms. They step down the light to the ninth dimensional level so that we can access it. They act as portals of light through which we can connect with the energetics of the infinite. So it's the molecule part, if you like, but it's more than that. It's a living, substantial being. When we draw down that light, when we're talking about our central column of light, it's a living, breathing, this is what it's referred to as the dragon. It's a living, breathing essence that's more than just plasmic liquid light that we're working and playing with in chi balls and stuff. This is actually an intelligence. It's a in infinite levels. It's more than just one thing, or it's many things, many I think they call it they're linked to the, within our Caphoric grid, the attitudinal lines, and these little, like we get the meridian lines, we get these other ones that are within this energetic pathway that links the human to the planet, to the well, it's not just the planet really, it's the fact it's linked to the galaxy and to source. It's to do with creation on a really macro micro level. Not that I know anything about it, that's what I'm interpreting. A source of dragon has come to you, or come to the earth now, because it's time for you to enjoy a period of stillness with awareness, breathing deeply and listen to the silence. Something very sacred is coming into your life. This could be anything from the fruition of a long-held dream of becoming a true master. It is becoming presented to you now. Be diligent, calm and focused, and remember to breathe deeply. Breathe in, the key to being in the moment, and this is where the greatest magic happens. Ask Source Dragon to accompany you on every step, your exciting new journey, and always remember that the present moment creates your future. So I'm going to end Marches with a little mini meditation, a little 10-minute meditation. So just sit upright so you are aligned with up galaxy and down earth, although it is essentially more than that. It's more that you're attuning to the sphere at the center, the new magnetics that is shifting on our planet, feeling that, and you're like a divining rod, that light of intelligence flowing through your feet, through the earth, and up through to source, through each of your cells, shifting as you shift with her, Gaia, feeling all the different layers like an onion through all the different fields, or whether you call them fields, dimensions, layers. Just breathing in, breathing out. And just be still for a moment. There are patterns around you that you may not have seen before that are starting to be clear. There are patterns in your thinking, patterns in your doing, and patterns visually in your field, represented of anchoring in different layers. There's patterns of sound, a rhythm, a frequency. Yutushknia turukmai. Ikniushkunia. Feel yourself playing around, seeing these images all around you as they're floating like a sphere, like you see the things of the planets than the Palladium, but you at the center rather than the sun, and all of these images around, spinning, patterns and colors, and the beautiful pole going directly through you of light, expanding outwards and inwards, outwards and inwards, like a breath in movement, in momentum, just like the pulsing and the sphere as it is turning. Think of this as the field. So then I superimpose on top of that an image of a macrobar, so a star that's three-dimensional, and the wings coming out as it expands. It's spinning one way and another part of you spinning the other way, and it's speeding up. It's allowing you, when it speeds up, to open and to see things that when it's at a slower speed are unable to be visual. But you're in this speed, even your emotional fields is awareness of it through your heart, very anchored and grounded in the now moment, and allowing that higher states of being to come into your awareness. And like a computer almost, and the crystal display in your phones or your laptops and things, the crystals in your brain are able to interpret this for you, this speed, and hold that. Where when we're in a lower frequency, when we drop down slightly, we may not be able to comprehend. Now that's sort of remaining, and it creates a bubble effect around you. When I spoke about in January there being this TARDIS effect, that's still there. So that's to do with the crystals in the brain and the states of what we can see right in front of us, and others might not be able to see it. It's because we're much more in tune with this field and what's happening. The more we become in tune with that, which will happen more and more, the clearer it will be to see these other realms, if you like, of things that have been spoken of in myth and legend. So seeing that happening and allowing it then for your own heartfelt journey of what is your soul's highest purpose. Anchoring that down and just breathing again back into stillness. And then when I stop the video, I'd like you to continue and just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And then just maybe make actual notes or visual notes, mental notes, but just breathe and make note of how you're feeling, note of what you're seeing, any images that's coming through, any thought forms or any stories, and just write it down or make a mental note, coming back to it, and then bring yourself back to the breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. Now I'm going to pause the video or stop the video for you to continue.